Why is the light not on? Okay. Flash is on. Good. Alright, this is Japanese white tea. My last sample from UNYTEA. Really excited about this one. The dry leaf is very sweet and very similar to, well, a lot more fruity than, a lot more fruity than the Chinese white teas. And it's a 2022, but it looks either aged or somewhat oxidized. So I'm gonna say a bit oxidized because it says the 2022, and I don't believe that a year of aging would do that. But very little processing though, for sure. Just a darker white tea. This is the cold brew. Very, very pretty. Very much a green color when illuminated by the light. And I see now that I did not bring my glass. So let me do that. I have a really nice teacup that I want to start using, but have not unpacked it yet. We're getting there. Really pretty color. Again, really kind of a verdant green, really bright. A little bit of activity in there. So it's still fruity but very crisp, more like a cucumber, but not vegetal, you know. But definitely a cucumber. Tasting this reminds me that, you know, all things that we consider vegetables are not necessarily vegetables. I think a cucumber, I think the science is done on that one. It's definitely a vegetable, but it does have that kind of fruity sweetness, like a very crisp, very nice cucumber. Yeah, but there's some sweetness on the back end, like some sugar sweetness. Yeah, definitely some sugar sweetness on the back end. But light though, not very dark. I'm gonna get some more of that. Maybe a little bit of mint in the aftertaste. Yeah, a little bit of mint in the aftertaste. Again, a very, very green white tea. Very green. Again, very crisp. So it is a fruit. It's the fruit I'm not familiar with, but it is very similar to like a cucumber flavor, but it has some sweetness there, like sugar sweetness. If it's citrus, it's a very, very mild citrus. definitely more so in the realm of cucumber. It's nice though. It is not an aged white by any means. There's not much earthiness there. There's a little bit of, like I said, mint on the back end to give it kind of some, you know, a little bit of that herbal thing going on. But it's what you expect from a white tea, which is it's very fresh, very sweet. Yeah, and definitely a sugar sweetness. So it's fruits in the way that cucumber is somewhat of a fruit, but definitely fresh. All right, and then the dry leaf, definitely a fruity smell. All right, so I'm gonna. The other thing that I wanted to mention, because I thought about this when I opened this up, which is there's a lot of stems in here, and I think the stems definitely add to the flavor profile of tea, and I'm certain that's where I'm getting that sort of herbal flavor from. It's from the stems, and there's a lot in here. All right, so what I'm going to do is, on this package they have brewing parameters, and so I'm actually going to use the brewing parameters, mainly because I know for a fact that white teas typically do not take well to very, very hot water. But I am going to hit it with hot water just to waken the leaves and clear off any possible dust that may be there, but I'm going to do it very quickly. All right. And hopefully I did not harm the leaves too much. But once I do the recommended brewing parameters, we're going to go back and kind of play around with my own thing here. 25 seconds at 5 seconds per steep at 85 Celsius. So I have my thermometer here finally. So gonna see what we come up with. Definitely more herbal on the wet leaf. I'm gonna let the heat dissipate a little bit and see if the aroma changes at all. Look at those leaves though. Very dark. Very dark. There's some green on the back side there. But yeah, very dark. And again, I sincerely doubt that this has anything to do with aging. I think this is just a bit oxidized. I am curious as to how that happens, because white tea is supposed to be just plucked, dried, and bagged up. And so maybe this was plucked, allowed to wither for a longer time than usual, then dried maybe, or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely a darker notes in the wet leaf. Almost, I've smelled this before. It's like I've smelled this before. It's like a caramelized something. Almost burnt sugar. But there's a food that I have in my memory as far as smells go. I just can't come up with the word right now for it. But I've definitely smelled that before. But burnt sugar is a decent descriptor for it. All right, so let's see if I can get this water to 85 Celsius. Let's see. All right, 45. I don't think we're gonna get it there. I think the water by itself is almost 85. Let's see. Yeah, so near boiling. That just goes to show you, you think that your water is near boiling and it's not. So this is at 80 right now. I'm gonna heat it just a bit and see if I can bump it up to 85. And then I'll play with it from there. And it's already cooling. All right, so now I'm getting a little bit of the fruit coming back as the heat has completely dissipated. Still a little bit of the darker You gotta be kidding me. Come on now. That water was boiling. Starting to doubt the thermometer now. Okay. Well, that's 85. All right. So we're gonna have to do this quick. It's only 5 seconds. So let's go. All right, that's 5 seconds. All right. A little more than 5 seconds. All right. So I thought 85 was going to be, I don't know why, but I thought 85 was going to be a lot cooler than that. That is near boiling. So there we go. It's got some activity going on in there. It looks really nice. Looks like stars or some glitter or something. That looks really cool. Some plant material, definitely. And not as bright green as the cold brew, just because of the short brewing time. And I'm already starting to feel a little bit in my tummy. Oh wait, 25 seconds. Oh no. All right, well, next one, 25 seconds. Okay. It's plus 5 seconds per steep. I read it wrong. So, definitely a weaker brew, but kind of knew that going in. Nice though, you know. This is definitely a tea that I can add honey to, and it'll be really nice. And I think I'm gonna do that tonight with dinner. And for me, that's what I want my white tea to be like. And there is definitely still a little bit of mint in the aftertaste, which is nice. So I'm almost scared to now do 25 seconds because I have a feeling that 25 seconds is going to be too much. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to punch it up a bit by using a little bit of this tea in here. Let's see. And instead of doing the recommended 30 seconds, I'll keep it at like 20, just because I'm using some of the tea. Right now I'm sitting at about 55 Celsius. All right, and let's see if we can get this thing all the way up to 85. Let's see. See, look at that, it's boiling water. But the thermometer is reading less than 80 right now. So yeah, I doubt the thermometer now. There's no way it's cooling that fast. But never know. So thermometer says 82, 83, something like that. That's good enough. All right, and we're gonna give this one and give it the full 30 seconds here. Let's see what we come up with. All right, 45. Alright, so there we go. Near boiling. Oh wow. So this is something of a gold color now. It's really taking on some of those darker tones. So there we go. So yeah, not quite as bright green as the first one. It's definitely taking on a bit of a copper tone now. Let's see what we get. Oh wow. So the mint is really dialed up. I like that. I really like that. That's that herbal note. Yeah, so that's where the oxidation comes in at. It really gives it a mint flavor. A perfect tea for adding honey. I really like this one. It is definitely different than, I'm sure there's some Chinese white teas out there that fit this type of flavor profile, but personally, I don't care for the Chinese white teas. A lot of them are either too weak or they're too green, you know. This one, for me, is right there where I want a white tea to be. It's very fresh, but it's different in that you have this nice mint flavor. It's not quite an aged white tea, but I would definitely want to experiment with aging this one to see what it turns into, you know? So I'm definitely going to keep this one in mind, the YUME Wakaba. I'm going to make sure I tag this one some kind of way on the page so that I can remember it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pick up 100 grams of this stuff because the Darjeeling white tea that I really like, I think that plays a role, you know, when I do want to add a little bit of sweetener to the tea. It's very fresh, very, you know, springtime feel, vibe type of thing. This one though, very fresh, but very herbal too, but not as dark as an aged white tea. You know, it's kind of just right there in the middle. And I'm very curious to see what would happen if I continue to age it. The Darjeeling white, as far as I know, that cannot be aged. This one, maybe because it's already been oxidized, maybe it can continue to age. Definitely something I think I would like to ask the, look at that green leaf. I would like to ask the people over at UNYTEA and see what they say about whether or not this thing can be aged. I would really like to play around and see just where this thing can go. And it's this big thick stem. I'm almost certain that's what's giving it the minty flavor, are these stems. And the leaves are starting to turn green just a bit. I imagine after maybe 3 or 4 more infusions, they'll really turn green. But they're maintaining that dark, rich flavor as if it was an aged white tea. Maybe they're doing something to mimic an aged white, kind of like a ripe pu'er maybe, or something like that, which that's interesting if that's the case, because it does give you aged white vibes, but it's not quite an aged white tea. But it's nice. It really is nice. It fits a really nice, I really like where this falls into the different, you know, kinds of tea. I like where this one falls. This is definitely a tea that I would recommend to someone brand new to tea. Definitely a tea that I think tea nerds would be interested in, because it's a Japanese white tea. That alone, I think, by itself, but also because of the flavor profile of where this fits. I did try some other Japanese white teas from UNYTEA. I think 2 or 3 others, at least 2 others, and they were okay to my memory. They were okay, but this one I really like, and I really think I'm going to wind up getting a big bag of this stuff. Okay, just for fun, I like to bring the temp down. Let's see, where are we at? Just to see what happens, and I'm going to steep it for about 1.5 minutes and just see how far we can punch this thing up and whether or not we can bring out any of that fruity sweetness that I know is in there. So like right now, I'm at 125, something like that. So I'm going to add just a little bit of hot water and get it to like 130. There we go, like 135. And I think this is enough water, I hope, just to be safe. Let's get So that's right at 130. Just a little bit more. Let's see what temp I got this at. 120. Yeah, I'm just gonna let this steep for as long as I can stand it. Just see what happens. There we go, it's good enough. Just to see what happens, because I feel like the brewing parameters, I think we're spot on with this one. And so I kind of already know what that's like. You know, boiling hot water, quick brew doesn't do it justice. You definitely have to steep it for a little longer. I doubt that this tea can be overbrewed. But, you know, we're going to see what happens here. I mean, this is a real pot of soup here that we're cooking up. And those leaves are really starting to come undone and really starting to shed that darker color and turning pretty green. And I'm not paying attention to the clock. I'm just going to see what happens here. I know that the cold brew has this fruity sweet flavor. Yeah, with mint on the back end, and it's a sugar sweetness. So I say fruity, but it's both. Unfortunately, it is a fruit sweetness, a fruit flavor, but there's sugar sweetness. It's really nice and very fresh. And again, I'm feeling this tea. It's not energetic or anything, but in my stomach, it is doing some work, you know. No question about it. It is doing some work in my tummy. All right. Very active. All right, so I think we're gonna go here. I don't know how long that was, but this is cooler temps, and at this point I'm basically brewing this grandpa style. Yeah, again, burnt sugar, but there's something, there's some dessert that I'm trying to, I think it's creme brulee, which is a burnt sugar, but that's what's going on here. Creme brulee, something similar to that. So look at that color. So again, this is cooler temperatures, longer steeping time, and again, you see all the activity, the little plant material in there. They look so dope, man. It really looks like a galaxy of stars. It's so cool. Really. There we go. It's there. It's there. I mean, this tea is, I'm really in love with this tea. It does everything it's supposed to do. You know, lower temperatures, longer steeping time, there's your sweetness. And it's a real sugar sweetness. I cannot find the cucumber. It's there because I'm looking for it, but it's barely there. It's barely there. I don't say that the hot brew is very fresh. It's more reminiscent of an aged white tea. But like I said, it's not so aged that you're getting any sort of woodsy notes or any sort of you know, those darker aged notes. It's not that. There's no forest going on. It's like I said, it plays in between. You know, it's still sort of like a fresh leaf thing going on, but it definitely, like I said, there's some mint there, kind of on the back end, and then definitely that sugar sweetness, that dark sugar sweetness. So what's happening is with higher temperatures, you're bringing out the mint, which is really cool. And then lower temperatures, the mint dies out. It's still there, kind of in the back end. But with lower temperatures, longer steeping times, you can bring out more of the sugar sweetness. And then the cold brew, which again is, you know, super long steep time and super cold temperatures, is that fresh cucumber fruit thing, and with, again, the mint still in there, sort of in the back end. And I think the mint has everything to do with the fact that there's so many twigs in here, and the wet leaf is still going strong. I mean, it is a really nice aroma. It's really nice. I mean, it's sugar. It's a dark cooked sugar. It's really nice. So again, I'm gonna really enjoy this tea. I kind of like it. I mean, man, I like it like this. I like it brewed hard, because you get that it's like drinking a Moroccan mint tea almost, with some honey. I do like the cold brew. It's different, you know. Like I say, it's fresh cucumber greens, with a little bit of mint on the back end, which is just different, you know. But I probably prefer this more as a mint tea, brewed hard, than I do any other way. But again, I like all of them, and so that's the kind of thing I'm looking for in a tea. So yeah, Japanese white, Yumewakaba.